Alright, good day to you all and welcome back to my channel today. My name is Chekube Madichie. In today's video, we want to learn how to estimate a structural vector autoregressive model using eViews. Okay. But before we proceed, I would quickly advise that a curious reader or researcher should make reference to the following materials. The work of Sims 1980 and 1986 is very important to understand the standard VAR. So Sims seems to be the first to have made a breakthrough, a great achievement, or great, will I say, contribution to development of standard VAR or structural VAR, I mean the traditional VAR. And you can also refer to the work of McCoy 1997, the work of Blanchard and Co. 1989, and of course the work of Narayan 2013. Okay, and these materials I've mentioned now have also been provided in the description of this video. Okay, now we start with a general introduction to structural VAR. First, we say that structural VAR is an extension of the traditional VAR. Okay, so it's an extension of the traditional VAR. So the starting point is that for you to get to structural VAR, you must have also passed through the standard VAR. Now, structural VAR differs from standard VAR because of the identification of a set of independent disturbances by means of restrictions provided by economic theory, rather than what the atheoretic restriction used in standard VAR. So what this is saying is that the structural VAR, okay, uses restriction based on the provision of economic theory, uh, rather than what the standard VAR, because standard VAR is characterized by its theoretic nature. So in standard VAR, there is no exogenous variables and there's no identifying restrictions. Okay, now the only role economic theory plays in standard VAR is in choosing the variables to be included in the model. So when one is studying variables, we make appeal to economic theory when you are choosing variables to be included, but when it comes to modeling and analyzing results from standard VAR, you do not make reference to economic theory. So these are the very important point to note for this video. Okay, now the steps towards estimating the structural VAR is to first of all test for stationarity. Okay, we test for stationarity to determine whether we are going to estimate the structural VAR in level or in first difference. Okay, now after the stationarity test, you move to reduce form VAR. Okay, reduce form VAR, whether the reduced form VAR will come in level or whether it will come in differences will be determined by the stationarity test. And of course, before that we go into lag selection. Okay, go into lag selection. So after we estimate the standard VAR, we begin to impose sufficient restriction to identify the structural parameters of the model. So and of course, in some cases, economic theory can suggest more than necessary restrictions. So but then we usually, that is over identification. So that in a case where shocks are assumed to have temporary effects on variables, okay, the restriction are imposed on the contemporaneous elements contained in AC and of course sigma. Now when the shocks are assumed to have permanent effect, the restriction are imposed on the long run multipliers in the impulse response function. Okay, so we are going to, like I mentioned, we are going to start with stationarity test. We are going to be very fast. Okay, first of all, we already know how to test for stationarity. I can tell you that for stationarity of these variables, those variables are all order 1 variables. You can see this one. We go back again and test here. You can see is order 1 variable. Okay, so we close this one. We close this one. Okay, we test again. This giving us order 1. You can see it is order 1. Okay, it is order 1. Now we test for this one. You can see not stationary at level. We test as first different. Okay, becomes stationary. So we close it. We test this, and what do we have? We test at level. Okay, we are testing with ADF. Of course, you can also test with other unit truth procedures. So from what we can see here, all the variables are order 1 variables. Okay, now we may not need to go into co-integration test, because if we do co-integration test, it means that if the variables are co-integrated, we are going to specify a vector error correction model. But vector error correction model is that is, structural VAR cannot be implemented for eView on VEC, okay, vector error correction model. So here we have already determined that all the variables are non-stationary at their level state, but stationary at first different, which means we are going to ensure that we difference all the variables accordingly, and before we run the standard var. So the first point here is to run a standard var. So these are the variables. We have to run a standard var, and we say that we are going to difference all the variables. Okay, variables have to be differenced. Okay, we difference all the variables because they are all order 1. That's why we are differencing them. Okay, now if that's, I have just explained that we will not need to test for co-integration. Even if you test for co-integration and find out that the variables are co-integrated, you may not need to run vector error correction model, because for you to run SVAR, standard VAR, I mean structural VAR here, you must have to first of all run a standard var. And if you run a standard vector error correction model, the structural var will not be implemented, because it doesn't support standard vector error correction. Okay, now first of all we determine the optimal lag. So we go into this. Okay, we go into this to determine the optimal lag. We test, we see that Akaike chose order 1, okay, and others chose 0. Okay, and of course from the estimate we just concluded now, Akaike seems to have the smallest value. Okay, you can see that Akaike has smaller value when compared to Swatch. So that simply means that Akaike is more efficient in selecting the lag length. Of course, you can also compare this value with this value and see that this is smaller than this. Okay, so it means that we're going to estimate the var having a lag 1. You can see we have estimated it with lag 1. And what do we do at this point? We have been able to estimate a standard var in differences, okay, in first difference of variables, because variables are all order 1. Now the next thing is to go to probe and move to estimate structural factorization. Okay, estimate structural factorization. So this, at this point, you have certain options here, whether you want to estimate recursive factorization, A unit, triangular, B diagonal, which of course the first one is usually the one we normally go for. where you have A unit triangular matrix and B diagonal. Okay, and the next thing is to click OK, and the estimate will come out. You can see the model specifications, can see the matrix A specification, you can see the matrix diagonal B, and when you move further you are going to see the values of the parameter estimates, and of course this is the specific representation of the values. So the likelihood ratio here is also of interest. It shows whether you are accepting or the identifying restriction or not. Okay, and of course these are the parameter estimates. You can see the first one here. This shows the effect of CPI on GDP. This is the effect of exchange rate on GDP. This is the effect of interest rate on GDP. You have to also know that the magnitude of the parameter estimates are not of interest. The major concern here is on the signs of the parameter estimate vis-a-vis the position of economic theory. So with that, you can see we have been able to estimate the structural VAR. Remember that the process starts with estimating the standard VAR, within which we can now specify and the identifying the restriction, and of course specifying and estimating the structural VAR. So you can see here that structural VAR is just identified. Okay, structural VAR is just identified. Now the next thing to do is to estimate or to present the impulse response and variance decomposition tests, which are supporting tests for structural VAR and of course standard VAR. Now for you to do that, you come to impulse response, you go and click on structural decomposition. I want to say here that if we did not estimate the structural VAR after estimating the standard VAR, this structural decomposition cannot be highlighted. So it's going to be faint in it's going to appear in faint, which means there's no way we could have highlighted it as an option here for this test. Okay, so you come and we say we are leaving it on multiple graphs, and of course analytic by default we can present the result. This is the result of impulse response result coming from structural VAR. Okay, coming from structural VAR. So the next one is variance decomposition, and of course it's already highlighting structural decomposition. Okay, structural decomposition, normally we go for tables, sometimes we can also put it in graph form. So this is the result here. These are the results here, you can see that. Okay, now any other thing, there's no more thing to note here. The major concern here is for you to know how to estimate the structural VAR from using eView, and the step begins with a stationarity test, which will advance to lag length determination. Remember that the essence of stationarity test is to know whether you are going to run the standard VAR in level or in differences. And from what we have, all our variables are stationary at first difference, which means we had to difference all the variables and work with difference in the standard VAR. So after estimating the standard VAR, we moved over to the structural factorization, where we estimated the structural VAR, from where we continued down to impulse response based on structural VAR, and of course variance decomposition based on structural VAR. So with this, we have come to the end of today's video. I want to thank you very much for always coming out to watch my video whenever it drops. Some of you that share the video, comment, like, and of course subscribe, I want to thank you very much, and I encourage you to continue to share the video, like and comment. I want to particularly say that I'm very much sorry about my inability to reply to some comments in recent past. I want to say that before the end of next week, I would have responded to all the comments. I've been very, very busy offline, so with certain other consultancy works. So please continue to watch my video, continue to recommend my video, share to your friends and colleagues, of course, comment and like.